everybody, and welcome to Total Football Talk.
You took my friggin' line.
Exactly. I just want to let you know this is the only one time you will see me wearing this jersey. This is a nod to Anthony's wife. Hail to the Redskins, HTTR. Now I must go wash myself. I'm Eric.
I'm Anthony. And this is Total Football Talk. I don't know, you threw me off. You started off with my line, you flippin' flap.
Well, that's what you got to do sometimes.
Yeah, my wife is a diehard Redskins fan from Maryland. Today's show, pretty straightforward, pretty simple. We're going to talk about contemporary picks.
Compensatory picks.
That's the one. I couldn't say the word.
Consensual?
What is it?
Compensatory.
Compensatory. It's easy for me to say. Compensatory picks.
Yeah.
We're going to talk schedule.
We're going to probably hit on the schedule first. The Hall of Fame game has been announced, if you care.
Who is in it? We'll find out.
And then, just some odds and ends stuff. Some news before everything kicks off with the schedule.
Yeah, we're going to talk. I want to talk a little bit. I have two things that I want to talk about. I want to talk about the draft and what Cynthia Freeland projected because she's an idiot. I swear on my mother's grave, she may be the second dumbest woman on God's green earth. The only one dumber than her is AOC, and she's got her beat by a mile. Other than that, I want to talk about the Rams situation with their linemen because I love how the Rams are beat. Well, we'll talk about that. So, what do you want to start with first?
We'll go with the schedule.
Okay.
As everybody is aware, they've heard that the deadlines have been delayed by a couple days. They were supposed to have a vote in by Thursday, but now that's actually been pushed. It was voted on. It was pushed to Saturday. That's when the deadline for players to vote on the proposed CBA. There are some owners who say, I hope they vote no. We want an 18-game schedule. So we'll see what the players. I know there's already some players who've come out and said no. We'll see if they actually put their vote behind that. Ryan Fitzpatrick said he'd vote yes. We'll see if he actually puts his yes vote to work. What do you think they're going to vote on?
I mean, at this point, we talked about the CBA yesterday. I think it's so hypocritical. Nothing surprises me.
If they vote no, I think you'll see a strike or a lockout after the 2020 NFL season. I really do.
Well, you've been calling that.
And this is the reason why they're doing it now, is because they wanted to get out ahead of it, and I don't think that that's going to work for them.
If anything, it's going to put more people on the awareness that maybe this is what's going on. I actually think the players are going to sign it.
Yeah, it's all about the money.
Yeah, and there's such a guarantee for so many of the guys. Getting, I think, $1 million now is the bottom tier. So 60% of the league is going to get a pay raise. I really don't think that guys like Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady have that much weight, especially when they have 60% of the league looking at them going, are you kidding me? You got yours and now we can't get ours? Because that's the way it's going to look. So I think they're going to sign it. I think the CBA is going to go into effect. I think we're going to have a 17-game schedule, which means we're going to have 18 weeks of football because God forbid they do away with the bye week because, player safety. We're going to increase the games and, because, player safety. So stupid.
So we have that Saturday. That's at midnight Eastern. And then Monday, the deadline to apply a franchise or transition tag is at 11:59 a.m. Eastern, so right before noon. Guys who I think are going to get the franchise tag, Judon from Baltimore. I still think Dak Prescott's going to get franchise tagged. Anybody on the Rams?
I think Corey Littleton.
Well, it'd make the most sense, but I don't know if they want to invest all that.
Well, but a linebacker doesn't get paid nearly as much as an edge rusher. That's why I think Corey Littleton. Because with a linebacker, you're talking maybe $6-7 million franchise tagged, as opposed to an edge rusher, which is 12 or 11 or 12, which, by the way, the Rams only have like $14 million in cap space.
Yeah,
so
it's going to be tough for them to fit everybody under their cap. Nobody on the Bears, I'll tell you that much.
There's a solution to that. But yeah, my prediction, guys, is Corey Littleton will get the tag.
Haven't heard too much on Littleton as far as a franchise tag, but hey, things happen for a reason and come down to the wire. We all know that. literally a minute or less later, okay, at noon Eastern, okay, ready for this? The legal tampering period opens. Just sign a damn contract.
Yeah.
What the heck? Who cares about a legal tampering period?
Well, and the thing, too, here's another thing why I say what I do about Littleton, covering that same thing, because you said we haven't heard much. Here's what I did hear. I did hear that the Rams and Whitworth have already agreed to re-sign him, and that he's going to come back one more year to the Rams. But what does Adam Scheffler and all these idiots say? Oh, the Rams, they don't got to know what are they going to do with Whitworth. They've already announced what they're going to do with Whitworth, and Whitworth has already agreed. But yet we don't know about that because they don't cover the Rams, because, Tom Brady. So it wouldn't surprise me if the Rams already have something in the works with Littleton. The legal tampering period thing, it's just, again, it's the league being hypocritical. Tampering's illegal, but yet you're going to allow for a legal tampering period, which translation means you can actually call and talk to the agent or to the player and the player's agent. Just, what? I'm not even going to get into it. I'm going to lose my temper.
Which then 2 days later on Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern, free agency opens. So you're going to get a bunch of signings or announced signings that guys are going to go play for a certain team on Monday, right after the noon hour, 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock, wherever you guys are at. And then they pretty much have already signed. They just got to make it official Wednesday.
So here, let's keep on this theme of hypocritical, right? Because this has been the theme all week so far, right? So the Bengals aren't supposed to announce that they're going to go after Joe Burrow because, why would you do that? You're showing your hand. And then we have a 48-hour period where you basically can announce who you signed as a free agent. Why do that? Why show your hand? Oh, it's okay when they do it, but when, dude, is anybody else irritated by this crap? Maybe I get too much under my skin. There's two things in this life that will get me to go from what I call mustard to ketchup in no time flat, right? People that drive in the middle lane, that drives me nuts, and hypocrites. Honestly, both of those people, they could go away forever and I wouldn't miss them. Or both of those types of people. I can't stand it. But yeah, so the Bengals announce who they're going to draft, and that's a problem, but the league can have this tampering period and announce everyone that's been signed before free agency officially opens, but that's okay, and that's good for football. All right, next thing.
All right. Steelers-Cowboys Hall of Fame game. Do you care?
Steelers-Cowboys? That's actually not a bad Hall of Fame game. I kind of like that one.
History.
Not just history, but anytime, for me, this is a totally selfish reason, okay? There's two reasons why I like this. One is 100% selfish, and the other one is legitimate. So let's do the legitimate one first. Cowboys and Steelers are one of those teams, regardless of how you feel about either organization, and I hate both. I can't stand either team. When they play each other, not just because of the history, because that's a big part of it, but when you're talking about Hall of Fame, they're two of the teams that probably have the most Hall of Famers. Not the most, but definitely up there. I'd say top 5.
Third.
I'd say I'd say top 5, at least top 10 for sure.
I only need to know who's first.
Bears. Yep. I think the Cowboys might be 5 or 4.
Yeah, Green Bay second, and then
Pittsburgh's third.
Pittsburgh's third.
And would you say Dallas is 4? Dallas or San Fran, that's got to be up there.
I mean, in the last 20, 30 years, they've had quite a few. Aikman, Smith, Irvin, anybody that offensive line, if they've gotten any recognition. It just seems that offensive linemen take a little bit longer to get recognized.
Which is stupid.
Jimbo Covert from the 85 Bears, he's going to be inducted under the Veterans Committee, along with everybody else who got inducted this past year on the normal vote. So, I mean, there are still guys who get in. So, yeah, you have all of that. And I say Veterans Committee, it's probably the wrong terminology. I'm used to, Veterans Committee, baseball. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Cowboys were top 5, yeah.
4 or 5, yeah. But here's the other reason, and this is legitimate. I love that preseason games that are interconference games. Matchups you don't normally see. You don't normally see Dallas-Pittsburgh but once every, 4 years now?
Yeah.
So it's kind of nice to see that when that comes about. And it was even rarer when I was a kid, which I'm getting into my selfish reason here for a minute. It was even rarer when I was a kid that a team would play somebody in the interconference, because if you were like the Saints, I'm going somewhere with this. If you were the Saints and you played the Steelers, chances are that might be the only time you play them in like 6 years.
Yeah.
Because, they're well, in the Rams, the Saints and Steelers case, that wasn't the case because they both had 4 teams. But
this was when divisions were 3 divisions.
Yeah.
And it's like you rarely ever played an AFC team, or you played like 1 or 2 a year.
Right.
And then it was always like, that's why if you go on to any matchups, if you go to Cowboys-Steelers matchups, and you'll see like the difference in years, where instead of every 4 years that we're seeing now since when? 2002?
2002.
Yeah, 2002. Like any time before that, the only time you would see that is either the Super Bowl, or it'd be staggered like 3 and then 6 and then
right.
And
the way it would work is unless you were the AFC Central and the NFC West, which had 4 teams, then they play everybody. So everyone in the Central would see everyone in the West every 3 years. But for example, the Rams, if they play the East, they might not play Miami but once in a decade because they see them not every 3 years. Because there's only 4 teams, so one team in the AFC West, or East rather, isn't going to play somebody. So they're going to get what they call a floating schedule, where they're going to play all the other teams that don't have somebody to play. But here's what I'm getting at with the selfish reason. Preseason game that I remember. I don't know why I remember this game. It's 2 teams I don't necessarily have an affiliation with, and it is a great lead-in. Saints against the Steelers. 1989 Week 2 preseason game. The Saints were at Pittsburgh. It was Chuck Noll against Jim Mora. It was just kind of a fun game to watch. I even remember the final score to that game was 16-13. And the Steelers were supposed to, it's the Saints, right? They just come off of a couple of really strong seasons, and Pittsburgh had come off a really bad season. But overall, when you were thinking Steelers versus Saints, you wouldn't think Saints would win.
Right.
And they had a 13-10 lead late in the fourth quarter. And the Steelers scored a touchdown, made it 16-13, missed the extra point, which was funny because they had Gary Anderson at the time, and he never missed an extra point. And then the Saints had this huge kick return, and they were at the 35-yard line as time expired. They couldn't get it in the end zone. They had 3 shots from the Steelers 35-yard line. So it was just kind of cool that I remember that game, and it was Steelers versus Saints. So I like preseason matchups for that reason that are interconference because the rarity of it, and you just kind of get to enjoy it more, although it's a little more common. Right. With the scheduling mix-up today. Anyway, perfect lead-in.
Perfect lead-in. If you guys watched any Saints games and you were asking yourself, hey, what's going on with Alvin Kamara? Why does Latavius Murray look so much better? But when Kamara comes in, he's just not producing like he was. We're not used to the explosive Kamara that we've seen the last couple of years.
We were used to that, then we weren't seeing it.
Right, we weren't seeing it all back in the 2019 season. Well, it just comes out that his leg was at 75% last season. Like, he sustained an injury sometime early during the early portion of the year, ended up having a leg injury, and explains it now. It's like anytime you watch the Stanley Cup playoffs, and the Stanley Cup is finally over, and all of a sudden you hear, oh yeah, so-and-so is playing on a broken foot. Damn, dude, really?
Right? Yeah. On skates.
Yeah.
On ice.
On skates, on ice. And here we're hearing Kamara was at 75% health in just one leg last year. And it's, what these guys do to get ready and suit up. And I know there's cortisone and maybe some other stuff. But, maybe we'll see Kamara back to healthy. Maybe that's why Drew Brees wants to come back. Hey, if we had a healthy Kamara, we could have went farther. I know, coulda, woulda, shoulda, but,
Remember that whole thing that we talked about with the Saints and Vikings?
Mm-hmm.
And everyone kind of laughed at me?
Mm-hmm.
And the Vikings won?
Mm-hmm.
Minnesota has New Orleans' number. Going all the way back to 1986 even. They beat them in 86, 44-3. Or 47, what is something ridiculous. And then the wild card game was 44-10. And then you have the Minneapolis Miracle. And then you had the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer touchdown. It's crazy.
No pass interference.
Oh my God! Don't even get, dude.
There's no pass interference in the game in the playoff game before that either. In the previous year.
You really want to piss off the Saint fans?
Oh, I got something else for us
all right,
too.
Let's go.
Jeez. All right. Yeah, we're done with the Saints. I've been wanting to talk about this for a long time, actually. When I heard it, thoughts on Romo's contract with CBS?
I don't care.
You don't care?
It's an announcer.
$17 million a year for 10 years.
Okay.
I feel the same way. He's good at what he does.
Do we know what John Madden's salary was? We don't. But I bet you it was somewhere around that. Pat Summerall?
Here's the funny part. So, Tony Romo's contract was announced. Man, who was the first person to say something?
Probably Jerry Jones.
Michael Thomas.
What?
Yes. What are they doing paying Tony Romo $17 million a year? We can't even get ours. I'm paraphrasing. Michael Thomas, shut up.
What?
Just catch the football.
That's like a teacher complaining about a firefighter getting a pay raise. Why are they getting theirs? We didn't get ours.
Pretty much.
It's a completely different profession, jackwagon. And you sit in a classroom teaching kids and, in some cases, indoctrinating kids. And firefighters go into burning buildings and actually save lives. Oh, but teachers teach the firefighters. No, we do not. I have never taught a firefighter how to firefight. Just saying. How to fight a fire? Firefight? Same thing, right?
Yeah.
Sorry.
You fight fire with fire.
Yeah. Could you... it drives me crazy.
Hold on. Hold the hose.
Yeah.
Here's how you hold it.
It's like, dude, we're teachers. Yes. We have an important job. I don't disagree. But we are not the reason someone becomes a doctor. We are not the reason someone becomes a firefighter. Well, who do you think teaches them? Well, if you've ever actually attended college, then you know that former doctors teach doctors. See, you don't have the biology teacher going, here's how you perform open heart surgery. No, it's a former surgeon, right? Who happens to teach. I think we have an important job. I happen to think it's a very important job. I do not think we're a hero. Please stop calling them that. I don't like that. A hero is a firefighter. A hero is a police officer. What am I going with this? It is a different profession entirely within the same genre, right? We're both government workers. Okay. Well, they're both in sports, but they're totally different. So, but Michael Thomas has a habit of not shutting his mouth and complaining. It seems to be the same way. And it starts with the top, with the head coach, Sean Crybaby Payton.
You should have ran the ball.
Right? And every time now we lose a game, it's the official's fault, because that's not wearing thin on the rest of the league. Only the Saints could have had an entire nation behind them, and in a 1 week span, got the entire nation to hate them.
Made you forget about the Patriots for a day, huh?
Yeah, they did.
Moving on.
Anyway.
How do you feel about a sky judge? Besides, never mind.
How about you just get good officials where you're at? Can we start there instead of having these Pop Warner blind bifocal douche canoes running around with whistles in their mouth? Oh, I blew the whistle early. Sorry, fumbled, but I had $5,000 on that play, so forget you. Like, why are we doing this? What's a sky judge going to do? Now we have an extra way of screwing over the team that we bet against.
All of Anthony's money, too.
I don't bet in that crap, but...
$5 down.
Yeah. Okay. It's utterly worthless.
I don't think it could hurt, but I also don't want the game slowing down.
It's already
slowing down enough.
Let's put it this way. Baseball is faster, on average, than a football game.
Golf.
Oh, my God. Don't. If
If
it ever gets to that point, I'll stop watching.
So, actually, two teams submitted a formal request for a sky judge.
Of course they did.
Baltimore and the Chargers. It's coming up every year now. I think they should just pass and get over with so it just appeases everybody.
No. See, I'm that guy. I'm like, no, we're not passing it. You can keep requesting it. Yeah, that's fine. It's like your wife requesting an actual good performance in the bedroom. She can keep asking, but you're never going to deliver, so we're never going to deliver with the sky judge.
He's talking about somebody else.
Not you in particular. It just, oh my God, it's so irritating, dude. Okay, fine. Whatever. No sky judge, but no in the NFL, but probably like, 17 extra games, 14 more officials, and we're gonna speed the game up by allowing them to replay everything after every play.
Well, think about this. How long did it take him to get a freaking pylon cam? Like, it's not that much to ask. That took like 35 years. They were asking before I was born.
And the pylon cam still has had problems. They are still blowing calls.
They're taking their sweet old time with those calls.
Here's a fact, okay? I'm going to say it's a fact even though I don't know it's a fact because I'm going to sound like a politician right now. Here's a fact, okay? It's a hunch. It's a theory. It's an assumption, but I'm probably pretty much spot on. The longer they take to deliberate on the call, the more likely your team is about to get screwed. Right? So, unless you're one, especially if you're playing against the go-to six. You're playing against Seattle, New England, go ahead, pop that popcorn and be like, we got this, it's going in our favor. If you're anybody else in the league against those teams, just be like, go ahead, walk out. Okay, here it is. It's a fumble, even though the guy clearly handed the ball to the ref and he dropped it, they're going to call it a fumble. Due to the whistle not being blown and my quad blowing and my right testicle was blown off in Nam, we're going to go ahead and say fumble. And you're like, what just happened? And when did that guy lose a testicle? Like, that just happened? Or was that, he said Nam? What is going on? I'm just saying. This is not for children today. I don't care. It's stupid. And it's always, the longer they deliberate, the more you're like, how? Like, I was watching a game last year.
Hey, Des Bryant caught it.
No kidding. And I hate the Cowboys. That was a catch. But let's just go to last year. I'm watching a game between, God, I want to say it was Green Bay against San Francisco. I think it was that game in the regular season, right? First of all, it was a blowout. So why are we taking 5,000 years for a call, right? And of course they ruled it in favor of Green Bay because, you know, God forbid Aaron Rodgers throws a pick. And they're sitting there and they're looking at it and they're like, well, and then they just kind of gave this vague reason on why it wasn't an interception.
When you're getting blown out in a game, don't throw the challenge flag. The game's over.
Thank you. Anyway, for me, it's so predictable. Watch. If there's a team you're rooting for against one of the popular teams, the longer the deliberation, the more likely it's going to go in favor of one of those teams. Just saying. Fact. More like an opinion. We'll go with fact. Go ahead.
All right. Carolina re-signed Kyle Allen to a 1-year deal.
Woo!
Would you rather have Kyle Allen, Jameis Winston, or Mitch Trubisky?
I'd rather have Steven Manna. My 6-year-old. My dead brother, Steven Manna. That's who I'd rather have. It's about as good. Throws the same amount of yards. Is that too personal? Sorry, guys. That was me personal. Don't get offended for me. I don't get offended by much, except my face in Sundays. And I look in the mirror and I'm like, God, what'd I do to myself? Listen, here's the deal. We talked about this last show, right? The drop in quality players. Okay? You just asked me, would I rather have a guy that should never have been drafted, a guy that couldn't cut it in any other league, and supposedly this league has the best players, or a guy who, for an NFL franchise.
Those are three. I can't tell who you're talking about.
I'll allow you to figure out which one I'm talking about. But we can all agree they all fit in one of those three categories.
Come on. Don't you want Jameis and his 30 interceptions?
No, what I need Jameis Winston to do for me is to distract the store so I can steal some lobsters.
Crab legs.
Oh, that's what it was.
Come on, get it right.
Oh, my bad. They were king crabs. It was good. Look, I don't care. But this is the problem the league has. We talked about it yesterday. I'm not going to go into detail now, but you're talking about the most important position, and more than half the league is garbage. Garbage. Like, wouldn't be a backup in the XFL if the opportunity came around. In the XFL.
I mean, hell, I'd rather have Landry Jones and P.J. Walker.
Right? And that's no joke.
No. P.J. Walker is doing great. He's got the Roughnecks out 5-0.
Hey, I'd rather have Cardell Jones than, Black Tebow. Yeah, I'm going to keep calling him that. Hail to the Redskins.
Dwayne Haskins.
Yeah, Black Tebow. All right. Next.
I don't know. What else we got?
Well, what did I say I want to talk about?
Draft?
I did say that.
Oh, Cynthia Freeland.
Yeah, and then the other thing was the Whitworth thing. But I already kind of covered that.
Kind of covered Whitworth.
So, yeah, I just to finish with that, I love how, the Titans, you want to talk about that too?
Yeah, the Titans have kind of taken a left turn and want to sign Tannehill to a long-term deal.
Well, they probably sat down and looked at film of Tom Brady and went, oh, yeah, no, we'll stick with Tannehill. 42-year-old that can't throw the ball. Let's spend $60 million on him. Go ahead, Raiders. Whitworth, I want to finish with this. So with Andrew Whitworth, the Rams have already made the announcement to anyone that follows the Rams. Like, we already know that that's pretty much a foregone conclusion. He's going to give him a discount. He wants to spend one more year because he didn't like the way last year went down. And the Rams and him will be negotiating when the time comes. And yet they're putting Whitworth out there like, oh, the Rams haven't signed Whitworth yet. Well, no duh. No one has signed anyone yet. At least they aren't allowed to. Anyway. So, let's talk about the draft. Okay. The world's dumbest sports announcer, Cynthia Freeland. By no means am I saying that this is the way, right here, right there. I'm going to read this right word for word. I am not attempting to predict, divine, or derive, she can't even spell, derive what teams will actually do on the draft day. Yeah, Cynthia, it's called a mock draft. Do you know who else can't accurately predict what they're going to do on draft day? Oh, I don't know. Everybody else in the world that follows the draft? She's got to put that disclaimer in there because her predictions were so stupid, my brain farted. Right? That's how stupid these predictions were. Bring it up. Who's number one, Eric? Keep in mind, the Bengals have already said who they're drafting. But this is what analytics say the Bengals should do. Analytics say the Bengals should get
Chase Young.
Chase Young.
She read my mind.
You agree with her. Maybe we need to reevaluate the co-host. So, Chase Young. Because, why draft a quarterback this year when you can never draft a quarterback ever? Like the Giants playbook, right? Yeah, Chase Young. Joe Burrow, forget it. We know what the Bengals said, but analytics say they should get a pass rusher, even though pass rushers haven't produced at all since this whole model was created. Right? Like we talked about this last show. When was the last time a pass rusher panned out at number one overall? You might have to go back to LT.
Does Myles Garrett get his head on straight?
Myles Garrett he's playing in the league 20 years too late. He should have been in the league in the 90s.
But still.
So, no, that doesn't qualify.
All right.
Maybe. We'll see, because he's still got a relatively bright career, but I have a feeling the NFL now has a mark on his head.
Easily.
So anything he does now is going to get penalized, and half his sacks are going to get wiped off the books. So, moving forward, who's number two? Who do the Redskins go get?
Redskins select Isaiah Simmons, linebacker from Clemson. You heard of the guy?
Yeah, I've heard of him. Misses a lot of tackles.
Didn't look good in the championship game.
Nope. Not a very big guy. You're going to pass up on all those other players and go with him. Okay, it gets dumber. Cynthia Freeland has going third.
Defensive tackle Derek Brown from Auburn to Detroit. Surprised not a wide receiver.
It's not Matt Millen, otherwise analytics would have predicted that. Really? Auburn's defensive lineman. So the Redskins are passing on a quarterback. They desperately need one. The Lions are passing on a quarterback. They desperately need one because Stafford's getting old. The Bengals pass up on a quarterback because, Andy Dalton is a Hall of Famer, apparently, according to Cynthia's predictions. So now we have the Giants at 4. Oh, really quick. On this defensive tackle from Auburn, you want to know what he is? He's a run stuffer.
You know what they don't do in the NFL?
Thank you. So analytics says draft a guy that has a trade that no one is that you're not going to benefit from? You got a defensive lineman who specializes in run stuffing. Okay. 4.
The Giants select offensive tackle Tristan Wirfs from Iowa.
Who?
That's what I was wondering.
Like, I watch college football. Who? What position?
Offensive tackle.
Oh, my God. Of all the linemen coming out of the draft, Cynthia Freeland thinks Iowa's... What?
Tristan Wirfs.
Tristan Wirfs is the best offensive lineman according to Cynthia Freeland's projections, guys. Yeah. The Iowa offensive line. What was Iowa's record last year? They win 3 games?
Maybe 6.
Yeah, clearly a stud that everyone is just clamming for, right? Oh, did you see his 40 time that he didn't run at the combine? What is she talking about?
Hey, you know how many bench presses he didn't do at the combine either?
Exactly. Oh,
how high did he jump?
So apparently Cynthia Freeland's boyfriend or girlfriend, we don't know which way she swings, is an Iowa grad because that's the only way that makes any kind of sense. Finally.
Joe Burrow at number 5 to the Miami Dolphins.
Sounds like she's a Dolphin fan, doesn't it?
Bye, Josh Rosen.
Right. Again, 2 years in a row. If ever there was a guy that shouldn't be in the league, but this is what we have. Joe Burrow to the Dolphins. Hey, Cynthia, thanks for letting us know your favorite team is the Miami Dolphins. All right? We appreciate it. You're an idiot. Who do the San Diego Chargers select?
Oh, the Los Angeles Chargers select Tua Tagovailoa from Alabama.
She probably thinks he's going to start.
He'd have a good chance to start.
Yeah, with a broken hip.
The reports checking out pretty good right now.
Yeah, reports checking
out
pretty
plus
good.
They re-signed Austin Eckler, so he's got somebody to hand the ball to. He doesn't have to throw.
That's good.
Yeah.
You can throw him short passes so he doesn't hurt his hip again. Tua needs to go to a team, we've all talked about this, that isn't going to play him much. Even if he goes to San Diego, he's not going to play much.
Detroit, no. Is he going to play for the college team?
This woman is somehow being paid. If you don't believe she's being paid by the NFL because of the way she looks on camera, I can't help you. Like, granted, I would much rather see Cynthia Freeland's face than ours. But when it comes to actual analysis,
I could put together a better mock draft right now.
The toilet paper that I flushed down the toilet this morning already had a better mock draft than what she just came up with. And it was marked all over the place.
To Chase Young.
Wow. All right, that was
Flushing talent down the toilet bowl since 1904.
That was a crappy joke. We're going to stop. What was the last thing we were going to cover? I think that was everything.
I think that was everything.
Wow, we actually got a show done in 30 minutes? All right.
Yeah.
Let's bounce off some questions. You ask me some questions.
Does Matt Rule last 3 years in the NFL?
Does what?
Does Matt Rule, new head coach of the Carolina Panthers from Baylor, last 3 seasons in the NFL? He's got a 7-year deal.
That's a tough one. I don't know what this new Panther ownership is like. They got rid of Rivera pretty quick.
They let go of Rivera during the middle of the year. Kuechly retired. They traded Trey Turner for Russell Okung.
That was a good move.
Greg Olsen left to go sign in Seattle.
Well, if you're asking me if the Panthers are going to be good next year,
I'm not asking you if they're going to be good.
Does he last 3 years?
Those are just some of the... I think they're going to go in straight rebuilding mode. I don't know what they're going to do at quarterback. They need help. I can see 3-13, 3-13, and if they don't get over 5 or 6 wins in year 3...
Here's the caveat. Do they draft a rookie quarterback in 2 years? Meaning they run with Cam for 2 years, because I believe that was a 2-year contract.
Cam's got 1 year left on his deal at $18 million.
Okay. And then you get a rookie quarterback in. Right? So I don't know. I'm going to say yes.
He lasts more than 3?
I think because so you're saying more than 3. Ooh.
At least 3 seasons.
I think he'll last 3. I don't know that he'll last more than 3. It's going to depend what they do the third year.
I just hope he doesn't pull a Saban.
Saban had his reasons, dude. That Miami organization they're garbage. And Saban wanted to be in the NFL. But then when he found out how the NFL does business, he's like, I don't want to be in the NFL. I don't want a Patino, that guy's a piece of human crap. Right? Patino?
Bobby Petrino.
Bobby Petrino, thank you. That was the one. 3 different coaches.
You could have been talking about Rick Pitino for all I know.
No, yeah, right. That's what I was saying, but that's not what I meant. Yeah, Bobby Petrino, that guy is a friggin' joke. That man should be banned from coaching for the rest of his life. And he should have been banned after he did to Atlanta what he did to Atlanta. But what Saban did in Miami wasn't Saban's fault.
Was that worse than blowing a 28-3 lead?
Yes.
Okay.
Because at least that coach was good enough to get him there. This guy wasn't even good enough to be honest to his own players. So I think Saban realized he was getting hosed in Miami and being treated like a second-rate coach, knowing that he was better than a second-rate coach. So I don't put that on Saban. I'm not just saying that because I'm a Bama fan. There's a lot of coaches that come out of college that get crapped on and treated like second-class citizens just because they haven't been in the fraternity for long enough. But he came up in the fraternity. He was a part of that Browns team that Belichick put together. So I don't put that on him. But I agree with you. I don't want to see him go the way of the Saban either, because then that just means he was treated like crap.
Right.
All right, let me ask you this question. Since we're wearing their gear, does the Washington Redskins change their names at any point in our lifetime?
Yes, they do.
That's when I stopped watching football.
And, okay, so I'm going to backtrack. If anybody's a baseball fan, the Houston Astros were once in the National League. Well, they were going through an ownership change, and Jim Crane bought Houston, and they said, we'll allow this transaction to go through. You just have to agree to move to the AL West. Houston's like, okay, fine. If Daniel Snyder sells the Redskins outside of the family, they will say, the NFL will say, yes, we can do this. The name will change, though. And they will say, okay.
That's when I stopped watching.
So unless Snyder keeps it in the family, it'll never change its name.
Well, and it depends on who in the family he sells it to. Because if he's got an SJW for a child, I'm offended by the name, I want to change it. Wow. Look at that.
So, do I think it'll happen? Not while Snyder's running the team, no.
Okay.
Do I think it could happen if he sells it? Yes. Absolutely.
Well, you think it will happen if he sells it?
I think it will happen if he sells it. I think that's the one caveat that they would agree for a deal.
What do you got?
But I don't think he's looking to sell anytime soon. No way.
Give me one.
Who replaces Bill Belichick as the head coach of the New England Patriots?
I think we already know the answer to that one.
You think it's Josh McDaniels?
Dude, that's a softball question. Yes.
Well,
why do you think he came back like a little schoolgirl? No, here's the big question, right? You want my bold prediction? Belichick doesn't retire a Patriot. He's going somewhere else to coach. I don't know where.
I don't know if McDaniels doesn't have Brady, I don't think he wants it.
What does McDaniels think? Brady's going to play until he's 71 years old? I mean, he is that
72
stupid.
At least.
No, I think McDaniels wants that because he can put his mark on it. I could win with any quarterback.
He's not going to have what it
whose
takes.
name is Tom Brady, and then I can't win with any quarterback unless his name is Tom Brady. I think Belichick is good. That's the one thing I think they will allow him to do is pick his successor. I wouldn't be surprised if Belichick retired for a year or two and then came back into coaching with the right team like the Giants. I think he wants to go to the Giants.
He's going to replace his former special teams coordinator, Joe Judge?
Yeah.
Come on. Who does that?
Yeah, because you're the Giants ownership. You get a phone call from me, Bill Belichick. I don't care if it's a week before the regular season begins. You can fire Judge and hire me?
That's up to Gettleman. Who'll probably also be gone, too, because Belichick's his own GM.
Exactly.
Bye-bye, Gettleman.
I said you're the owner. I didn't say you were Gettleman, the GM.
Gettleman's gone anyways.
You're the owner. I call you a week before the regular season. Say, I'll coach right now. Hire me.
I don't think Mara does it.
I think he'd be an idiot if he didn't. The Giants would have his head on a pike.
I don't think Mara does it, but he says, you stand by, and we'll see what kind of record we get off to.
What does it matter? Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. I see you. Talk about an intern bring in, huh? That'd be pretty amazing.
Absolutely.
All right. Here's one. The Patriots videotaping scandal. I've said my piece. How do you feel this relates in severity to the baseball scandal? Are they identical in the sense that it gives the team the same hardcore advantage? Or do you think they're apples and oranges?
So what was the Patriots' first slap on the wrist penalty?
Well, I didn't say with the penalty, though. I'm talking actual crime.
I'm saying
their first one was a $5 million fine, because that's big.
Of one draft pick.
One draft pick. Okay. And it wasn't even a first-round pick, if I remember correctly.
The Astros got fined $5 million and lost a first and second-round pick for the next 2 years. Neither commissioner came down as hard as they could have.
Mm-hmm. That's all that was.
Severity? The Astros won one championship. How many of the Patriots won?
Mm-hmm. See, this is why Patriot fans can miss me with this nonsense that Roger Goodell hates the Patriots. Roger Goodell loves the Patriots. He ensures that team wins every damn year.
Tom Brady's bogus Deflategate penalty was worse than any cheating scandal that the Patriots.
And the only reason that happened is because
he broke a phone.
No. Straight up. The only reason that penalty was as severe as it was is because it had already piggybacked off of 3 other scandals the Patriots had had. So there was a point in time when, like, okay, guys, you got to knock it off. A 4-game suspension. The first 4 games of the season. When do the Patriots ever play a professional football team in the first 4 weeks? They usually get 2 teams in the AFC East, which is like a bye week.
Miami and the Jets.
Right? And then they get, or Buffalo, because, I mean, Buffalo of late is okay, right? And then they get the 2 weakest teams in non-conference play that they get.
Detroit?
So, the Cardinals? Because the Cardinals were such a good team that year. Yeah. Don't tell me he doesn't love New England. Now, what would your penalty have been? I'll tell you mine.
Head coach suspension for a year. Loss of all draft picks for a year. And the maximum amount of fine allowed.
Okay. Here's mine. Head coach is suspended for an entire year. I agree with that. GM is removed from his position entirely, forever, banned from the league, to send a message to the owner that I'm one step from you.
But
right?
As the Patriots operate, they don't have a GM.
Well,
I mean, Belichick's their GM.
That's true, huh?
Yeah.
So there is no GM. So Belichick suspended for a year. Asterisk next to the Super Bowl. I would do it. Vote that out, but I'm doing it.
Your predecessor would probably remove it.
Probably, but as long as I was there. Okay? That's step 2. Step 3, you're not allowed any cameras other than NFL cameras on the sidelines. Other than NBC, ABC, CBS, and NFL cameras, you don't get your own cameras. We'll have NFL Films do your yearbook for the next decade. 10-year period. And if you do it again, I'm going to force you to sell the team.
And Hard Knocks every year.
Yeah, no shit. But seriously, I would remove all video capability from the organization for 10 years on the first offense. Now, if there's a second offense in that 10-year period, you sell the team. You violated the contract that you signed to be an owner. I'd be that serious. Draft picks, I wouldn't even mess with that. You can have your picks. I'm not trying to cripple you. I'm trying to stop you from committing it again.
Crippling would help.
Well, no, because New England just pays off officials. Come on. At the very least, officials are betting on those games because, Tom Brady's the greatest quarterback that ever played. Even though we don't... There's one. Now, I'm going to get into this. This is something I want to cover. Is Tom Brady the greatest quarterback of all time? I was talking to you about this today. I'm going to say it. I don't care what people out there think. Okay? You could call me harsh all you want. Okay? I wouldn't put Tom Brady in the top 100 quarterbacks of all time. And here's why I say this.
The Bears quarterbacks have a chance.
Here's why I say this. I don't know what Tom Brady is capable of doing in the clutch. Because when you know, and I said this to you, right? And we had this conversation. It's like a baseball player at bat knowing what pitch is coming, where the location is, right? It's no different than a baseball player knowing that. So, miss me with that, well, you still got to hit the ball. You said that to me today. And what I tell you, you're a professional baseball player. If you can't hit a pitch you know is coming, you're not in professional baseball. Sorry, you're just not. Especially in a World Series. Would you agree with that? You would not be a starter in the World Series if you could not hit a ball you knew was coming.
They knew what was coming. They didn't know where it was going.
Okay, but videotaping, what the Patriots did, that's not only knowing what is coming, but where it's coming from. Because, see, when you sit there and you see...
You don't diagram baseball plays, you diagram football plays.
Right. And when you sit there and you see the linebacker do this or do this, and you know, oh, that means the safety is blitzing, that means the corner, okay, now he's coming up, it's man coverage, that safety's going to roll over the top, so I have a window there, they're going to try and do a zone blitz. And you can't make that throw as a professional quarterback in a Super Bowl? Miss me with that nonsense. Sorry. You're not a professional quarterback if you can't make that play. So how good is Brady? Because, again, we know they filmed the 1-7 Bengals last year. So I think we can safely say they filmed every opponent they've ever played for Tom Brady's entire career. I don't think that's a stretch. So, again, you know what pitch is coming and where it's coming or where it's going, and I'm supposed to believe you're great because you execute under those circumstances? That's like saying Timmy Smith is a great running back in Washington Redskins history. Will go down as one of the greatest Redskin running backs of all time because he ran through giant gaping holes in Super Bowl 22. Didn't do anything the rest of his career, but in that game, he was great. Now imagine...
He knew where the holes were.
Right, exactly, and where the Broncos were going. Backwards on skates, right? So, I'm just saying, like, I can no longer... and I had conceded this. When the Rams lost to New England in the Super Bowl. That, okay, Tom Brady's great. I concede it. But after what I heard last year with the Bengals, knowing now that that game against the Rams was fixed, meaning filmed, yeah, no, sorry. I can't give you credit. I can't give Belichick credit for being a great coach. Oh, well, he still coached them up. Yeah, watch this film. When the quarterback does this, this is the play.
Here, I'm going to show you something. That's the Miami game right there, Week 17.
Yeah. I mean, come on!
They didn't film the Dolphins.
No, they did, but the Dolphins probably figured some stuff out. Well, and let's face it, when you're getting a happy ending at the massage parlor, you probably forget half the stuff you learned about.
Probably.
So, I'm just saying, Eric, your side of this story. Where do you rank Tom Brady after knowing all of this crap?
Top 10.
I'm a loner on this one, I know it.
Top 10.
But you wouldn't put him greatest of all time.
No, but I mean, if you're talking about like Brady versus Manning, Brady versus... Who else has played in that same era with Brady? You can rank Brady, Breeze, Manning, and whoever else has been there during that time. But like, is Brady better than Favre?
No.
Is Brady better than Elway?
No.
Is Brady better than Marino or Kelly?
No.
I mean,
again, I cannot.
I'm not gonna say Brady was better than Montana or Young.
Let's do this. You're a baseball person, okay? If you knew a baseball player was being tipped off on every pitch in every game for his entire career, and he broke all of Babe Ruth's home run records, all of Ted Williams' hitting, base average or batting average records, and Barry Bonds' records, and broke all these records as a player. And come to find out, in the final 2 years of his career, He's been fed the pitches his entire career before they were coming.
That is
a hell of an accomplishment. I agree with you on that.
Tip my hat. Because that is one long conspiracy.
That's true. That's true.
Somebody's really good at their job.
That's a good point. That's a really good point.
Wow.
Well,
I mean, breaking Bonds' home run record, Teddy ball games, last 400 in a season. I mean...
Yeah, but let's keep in mind that baseball would have to change rules like they did for Tom Brady, right? They would have to basically say, okay, the pitcher can only throw fastballs on 3-1 counts down the middle of the plate, or it's an automatic double, right? Because they got to make sure that they make it an advantage for the hitter.
Yeah.
Right? You're not allowed to throw a changeup on a 3-2 pitch, right? Just like you're not allowed to tackle a wide receiver or hit them early. Like you're going to have to skew it so those records are easily broken.
First pitch fastball down the middle.
Yep, every time. So you can choose to take it or not to kind of get the feeling.
All right.
But you don't have to because you know it's coming.
That would make baseball
longer
and not enjoyable.
Welcome to my life in football.
Fastball!
Yeah. Well, that's what football is. Football is, okay, guys on defense, don't hit too hard. You're not allowed to tackle. You're not allowed to cover. You're not allowed to try to intercept the football, and don't hit the quarterback. Other than that, do your job.
Here's a flag.
Because you thought about it. My favorite is when a guy falls down and clips the ankle of the quarterback. Hit him low.
No.
Oh, yeah, right? Body weight on top of quarterback. Let me get this straight,
You were within 5 yards of the quarterback.
Let me ask you a question. Let's be realistic here for a minute. Again, not for children today, okay? I want you to picture this for a minute. It's going to be disturbing, but bear with me. I want you to picture for a minute one of these big NFL players in the bedroom with their wives. Do they put their body weight on them? So you're telling me that a wife of an offensive lineman or a defensive lineman is tougher than an NFL quarterback in pads?
How fast is he going?
But seriously, like, let's look at this. You're telling me, well, no, he's going to cry. I mean, I don't want to.
I can't even take a drink right now.
I'm telling you, it's so stupid. That whole body weight on top of the quarterback rule. Dude, really? My favorite was the 49ers a few years ago when that pass interference thing first hit, or roughing the passer thing. The dude sacked the quarterback, and they called roughing the passer.
Oh, yeah.
On a sack!
I think I sent you the video.
I was like, what? And it was a playoff game! Yeah, that's why football's so unenjoyable right now. Anyway, now that you have that image in your head, just know that their wives are tougher than an NFL quarterback. I guess we know who wears the pants in the family with Giselle, right? Tom makes her sandwiches. That's an inside joke for me and Eric. Some of you probably don't know what we're talking about. We'll keep it that way. But you know what? He should make her a sandwich because she's definitely the breadwinner in that family.
He is. He's making the bread, too.
No, he's making babies. Well, she's making babies. They're both cooperating in that. Lots of buns in the oven. But good for them. I'm happy. They are a happy family in that part with, Mr. Frankenstein I am happy about. But, man. I've gone into this twice now. We're going to stop. We're done.
All right, last NFL question.
All right.
If the NFL expands 2 teams, where do you put 2 teams?
You go. I don't even want to answer this question. They shouldn't expand. They should contract. Let's start with that.
I agree. Where are you going to put 2 teams?
Well, you said yesterday that the Jags are moving to London eventually. I agree with you on that. So you're going to have to put a second team in London.
Second team in Europe.
London's big enough.
Within close vicinity.
Yeah. Ireland. I
Could do that.
don't think there's a fan base there, though.
Probably you have one team one home team at Wembley and the other home
That's
team
what I
is
think.
at where the Tottenham Hotspurs play.
That's what I think.
Have those two
You have to have two teams in London. Because I don't think there's a following everywhere else.
Would you put a team in Mexico City?
No.
Would Portland work? Orlando? If the Jaguars are leaving Jacksonville, you might as well put somebody in Orlando.
No. Actually,
Call them the Breakers.
why is the NFL this stupid? Why wouldn't if it's up to me? Well, I'm contracting, but who? Okay, they should put a team in the South: Alabama, Oklahoma, Texas. Well, Texas has enough teams. Where do I think they'll put another team? Probably St. Louis. You think they do that again?
Handle another team? They've had like 7.
I don't think they do that again. You're right. Where would there be another team?
And you can put another one in Chicago.
You could, but I don't think they would. They had two teams in Chicago.
Yeah, they had a chance.
San Antonio. I think they put a team in San Antonio. Close enough to Mexico. Closer than anybody else.
Well, not Houston.
Is Houston closer to Mexico?
Yeah.
I know my geography. Okay. I still say San Antonio. Or maybe Oakland as an apology, but I think San Antonio.
As an apology. Hey, sorry, here's a new team. Oh, you play in the Coliseum, too.
Yeah, no. For another 15 years.
San Diego? They already got a team, according to Anthony. They never left.
They never did. You like how I didn't mention San Diego? That could be. I mean, I would say one of those two cities probably, Diego or Antonio. So, and then obviously a second team in London. I think they'd have to. What about you? What do you think?
Places I named: Mexico City, Portland, Orlando. They could use it. I do like the San Antonio option. I mean, the only way you put another team in Oakland is if you basically guarantee a new stadium. But then it comes down to who's flipping the bill. Then you need 2 more owners. And I think you already have one of your owners that going to relocate to London, so I'm sure he's got connections. He can get another team in London easily. But then you got 9 rounds of the NFL draft. You might as well just combine with the XFL and get it over with. Dude, there you go. 40 teams, all done.
It's getting to the point where it's just like, guys.
You just put a team in every state.
I mean, you have such a watered-down product right now. Can they really... I mean, are we really thinking they're going to expand? Do you really believe that?
If the Jaguars move to London, yes.
I got to say, at some point...
Then with travel logistics... You basically have to put it to where
you have
2 weeks in London.
You know how you fix that?
Or the London team's got 2 weeks in the States.
You know how you fix that? It's real easy.
Contract. And don't put a team in London.
Thank you. You don't put a team in London.
I get it. It's going to happen.
I tell you what, guys. I don't know. You comment down below. Do you think, I mean, at what point is it going to be too much and the NFL will fold? Do you think the NFL will ever fold? I think if they expand to 2 more teams and go to 34 teams and an 18-game schedule and they're playing up until President's Day, right? That's what you were talking about?
The Sunday before President's Day, yeah.
I think it's too much. I think people like me are going to be like, dude, I'm done. I got my old games. I got my video games. I got my family. My sons, really quick, they hate football. Both of them. They cannot stand it. They just think it's boring. My 6-year-old thinks baseball is not as boring. When I asked him why, I kid you not, he said the games move quicker. We watch them faster. Think about that for a minute. A 6-year-old, so that's why I get pissed off too when people talk about baseball. Oh, they got to find a way to speed up the games. No, we need to find a way to speed up the football games. Baseball's got it down. Now, granted, he's 6, but here's an example. My son will sit there and watch the first 3 innings of every baseball game that's on TV. And then he plays with his toys and he runs around the house. But if I turn it off, he comes up, like, turn it off. Because you weren't watching it. I was listening. No. We watch, we don't listen. Okay, turn it off. But he'll watch 3 innings. As soon as he hears the music starting for an NFL game, goes outside. Goes upstairs with his mom. Sighs and walks away. So at what point is it too much? Because it's already losing the interest of the young kids. And then you've got these high schools that are contracting and not having football programs anymore because of the concussion fears, because the NFL was stupid and decided not to address the steroid problem and let this perpetual lie of concussions ruin the sport, right? Because I'm sorry, but they're linked and no one's going to convince me otherwise. So rather than go, yeah, we have a steroid problem, that's not why, the CTC stuff and the brain stuff, that's happening because of roids. And we're sorry, and we're going to do the best we can to fix it. They would rather have the concussion thing, like a cancer, eat away and destroy their product, because it's less shameful to admit that 98% of your league is, juicing. Which, come on, they are.
They could take the baseball approach, and with the National League, American League, one team has a DH, the other one doesn't, obviously. Everybody knows that. That's going to go away soon. NFL combined with the CFL, you go play up with the CFL rules up in Canada.
I just think it's too much. But you guys tell us what you think, because I think at that point, I can't watch it anymore. I got too much stuff to do. I can't have. That's why I stopped watching Thursday night games. If you guys noticed this year, I didn't really comment much on the Thursday night games. I didn't watch any of them, not a single one. I used to love the Saturday games before Christmas. I don't even watch those anymore. Right? I'll watch Sunday, Monday night if the Rams are playing. But I'm done. I don't watch the Sunday night game. That's literally my whole day. If you are one of those people that watches all of it, you're starting at 10 o'clock in the morning in Arizona, and you're not finishing until 10 o'clock at night.
Hey, and when the games are in London and they start at 8:30 or 6:30 here, that's all. Yeah. That's getting up early and watching hell long football.
So 6:30 to 10?
Yeah.
On a given Sunday? No way. No way. No way. Sorry. It's just too much. So this year was pretty fun for me because I just followed the Ram games. And a couple of the games that I wanted to see that were interesting matchups. Sometimes that was a good game on paper, two teams with a great record. Sometimes it was just, I want to see Baker against Pittsburgh, for example. Yeah, I like the Browns, but I wanted to see what the Browns are going to do against Pittsburgh, a depleted Steeler team. So I watched it. Seahawks Steelers, I watched that game. But I picked and choose. I think it's too much, but you guys comment. Anything else?
Nope.
All right. Well, guys, hit that like button, subscribe, keep recommending these to your friends, and hopefully you guys got as much of a laugh out of it as we did. I'm Anthony.
I'm Eric.
Go Rams.
Go Bears.
Horns up, baby.
Bear down.
And why did we wear this?
Your wife.
Oh, yeah.
She made us.
She wears the pants in this family. Speaking of which, Eric, can you I got to go make her a sandwich.